My name is Marcus Blackwood, and for 15 years, I served the Prince of Darkness with every fiber of my being. I performed rituals in the shadowed woods of Transylvania County, North Carolina. I led ceremonies in abandoned warehouses across Harris County, Texas. I recruited lost souls from the streets of Cook County, Illinois, promising them power, freedom, and enlightenment through the left-hand path. I was so certain, so absolutely convinced that I had chosen the winning side. Until the night I died. The autumn air in Asheville hung thick with the scent of wood smoke and decay as I drove my black Dodge Charger down the winding mountain roads of the Blue Ridge Parkway. It was October 31st, 2019, our holiest night, Samhain, and I was returning from a ritual at Looking Glass Rock where 13 of us had invoked entities I'd been communing with for over a decade. The ceremony had been powerful, intoxicating. I could still feel the electric charge of dark energy coursing through my veins. I never saw the deer that bounded onto the highway. My car hit the guardrail at 70 miles per hour, flipping 3 times before plunging down a 40-foot embankment. The vehicle wrapped around an ancient oak tree like aluminum foil. According to the first responders who found me 20 minutes later, trapped in the wreckage with a steering column piercing my chest, there was no way I should have survived even that long. But I didn't survive. Not really. EMT Sarah Rodriguez from the Henderson County Fire Department told me later that I had no pulse when they extracted me from the twisted metal. No heartbeat, no respiration, pupils fixed and dilated. I was gone. She performed CPR anyway, following protocol as the ambulance screamed toward Mission Hospital in downtown Asheville. For 7 minutes, I was clinically dead. And in those 7 minutes, I experienced something that shattered every belief I had built my adult life upon. The transition wasn't like falling asleep. There was no gentle fading of consciousness, no peaceful drift into darkness. One moment I was aware of crushing pain, the taste of copper blood in my mouth, the distant sound of sirens. The next moment I was standing, if you could call it standing, in a place that defied every law of physics and geometry I understood. I expected darkness. I had spent years cultivating relationships with shadow, celebrating the night, calling upon entities that dwelled in the spaces between light. Darkness was my home, my element, my power. But this wasn't that darkness. This was the absence of everything. Not black. Black is still something, still a color, still a presence. This was void. This was the negative space where reality itself had been scraped away. And yet, impossibly, I could see, I could perceive. There was a terrible, sick sort of luminescence to this place, like the glow of radiation or the light from a dying star. The first thing I noticed was the silence. In all my years of meditation, ritual work, and altered states of consciousness, I had never experienced true silence. Even in the deepest trance, there's always something. The sound of your own heartbeat, the whisper of blood in your ears, the distant hum of existence itself. Here, there was nothing. Then the silence broke. Screaming, thousands, no, millions, of voices screaming in agony, terror, and absolute despair. The sound came from everywhere and nowhere, from inside my own consciousness and from vast distances simultaneously. It wasn't just sound, it was feeling, raw emotion made audible, suffering so profound it had become its own form of existence. I tried to move, to run, but there was nowhere to go. The void stretched in all directions, infinite and imprisoning. That's when I saw them, the others. Human forms, or what had once been human, scattered throughout this endless expanse like stars in a night sky, except these stars were screaming. A woman nearby caught my attention. She looked about 40, wearing clothes from maybe the 1950s, a floral dress, now tattered and stained with something I couldn't identify. Her eyes met mine, and in them I saw recognition, not of me specifically, but of what I was. A newcomer, fresh meat for this machine of eternal suffering. "You're new," she said, her voice cracking like old paper. "You still have hope. That's adorable. I had hope once. I think it was, when was it? Time doesn't work here. Maybe 1,000 years ago. Maybe yesterday. Maybe it hasn't happened yet." Before I could respond, the landscape shifted. The void began to take shape, forming environments that seemed pulled from nightmare logic. I found myself in what looked like a twisted version of downtown Chicago, specifically the Loop District in Cook County where I'd recruited some of my most devoted followers. The skyscrapers were there, but they were made of flesh and bone, pulsing with sickly life. The streets ran with something that wasn't quite blood, but wasn't quite anything else. Walking those streets were entities I recognized, not from this life, but from my 15 years of practice. Demons, I had called them. Powerful beings who granted wishes, bestowed knowledge, offered their strength to those brave enough to call upon them. I had been so proud of my relationships with these entities. I had names for them, sigils I'd draw to invoke their presence. Belith, who I'd called upon for matters of love and lust. Paimon, who taught hidden knowledge. Aemon, who helped resolve conflicts and disputes. I had felt so privileged, so special to have access to these ancient powers. Seeing them here, in this place, I understood the horrifying truth. They weren't powerful. They were prisoners, inmates in a cosmic jail, playing dress-up with whatever scraps of authority they could scrape together. And every human they touched, every soul they influenced, every person they helped, we were just adding to their collection, gathering more toys for their eternal cage. One of them approached me now. I recognized the energy signature immediately. It was Ronova, an entity I'd worked with extensively for developing my public speaking skills. He'd made me charismatic, persuasive, able to draw followers to our cause with honeyed words and magnetic presence. But here, without the veil of ritual and invocation between us, I saw what he really was. Imagine a spider made of human hands, each finger an eye, each palm a mouth filled with teeth that had never known anything but hunger. That's the closest I can come to describing it, but even that fails to capture the wrongness, the fundamental incorrectness of its existence. Marcus, it said, and its voice was my voice, my mother's voice, the voice of my first love, the voice of everyone I'd ever trusted. You're finally here, really here, not just projecting consciousness during our little chats. Isn't this wonderful? We can work together so much more, intimately now. I tried to speak, to scream, to do anything, but my voice wouldn't come. The entity that called itself Ronove circled me, its hand fingers touching me, leaving trails of cold fire across my spiritual form. You know what the best part is? It continued, its many mouths grinning. You chose this. Every ritual, every invocation, every ceremony. You were signing the contract, page by page, line by line. And you were so eager about it, so proud. You even recruited others to sign their own contracts. Do you know what that earns you here? A special place. A position of authority, you might say. The void shifted again. Now I was in what looked like a massive amphitheater, carved from obsidian and bone. Thousands of seats filled with suffering souls, and on the stage below, I saw myself, or rather a version of myself, leading a ritual. The participants were people I recognized. Jennifer from Houston, Texas, who I'd inducted into our coven in 2014. David from Orange County, California, who'd been so lost after his divorce that my promises of power and purpose had seemed like salvation. Melissa from Maricopa County, Arizona, barely 19 when I found her, angry at the church that had rejected her for being different. I watched as StageMe led them through the ritual. Watched as they cut their palms and signed their names in blood in a book that seemed to be made of human skin. Watched as their eyes lit up with what they thought was enlightenment and power. And I watched as chains, invisible to them but blazingly clear to me, wrapped around their souls, binding them to this place, to these entities, to this eternity of suffering. No, I finally managed to whisper. No, I didn't know. I thought we were the enlightened ones. I thought we'd chosen freedom. The laughter that echoed through that amphitheater was the sound of creation mocking itself. Every entity in that place laughed, and their laughter was made of the broken promises of every lie ever told. Freedom? Ronov's voice dripped with acid amusement. You thought serving us was freedom. Oh, Marcus, sweet, stupid Marcus. You were free once. You had a choice, and you chose this. You chose us. And more importantly, you convinced others to choose us. That's the beautiful part of the design. Every soul you recruit, every person you lead astray, every seeker you point in our direction adds to your sentence. You don't get punished just for your own sins here. You get to experience the suffering of everyone you influenced. Their pain becomes your pain. Their eternity becomes your eternity. The amphitheater dissolved, and I found myself somewhere else. This place was quieter, more intimate, and somehow worse for it. I was in a small church in Henderson County, North Carolina, not far from where my car had crashed. I recognized it immediately. It was Grace Community Church on Spartanburg Highway, where my mother, Linda Blackwood, had dragged me every Sunday throughout my childhood. I was standing in the back, watching a younger version of myself, maybe 14 years old, sitting in a pew next to my mother. The pastor, an old man named Reverend Thomas Caldwell, was giving a sermon about grace and redemption. Young me was slouched in the seat, anger and resentment radiating off him like heat. "This is where it started, isn't it?" a new voice said beside me. I turned to see an old woman, her face kind despite the suffering evident in her eyes. "Where you first chose the other path?" "I don't understand," I said. "Who are you?" "My name was Eleanor Pritchard. I died in 1987 in a car accident not far from here, near the Biltmore estate. I'd been a practicing witch, Wiccan, we called it, though I dabbled in darker things. I convinced myself it was all harmless, all about nature and goddess worship. I was wrong, and I spent a long time in places like you're seeing now, experiencing the consequences of my choices and the ripple effects on those I'd influenced." "Spent?" I caught the past tense. "You're not there anymore?" Her smile was sad but genuine. "That's the thing they don't want you to know, Marcus. This place, these entities, they want you to believe the lie is complete, that there's no escape, no redemption, no hope. But there is. There's always been one way out. I fought it for what felt like centuries. Fought it because it meant admitting I'd been wrong about everything. It meant humbling myself before the very thing I'd rejected and mocked and turned away from." "What are you talking about?" She pointed at the young me in the pew. "That sermon Reverend Caldwell is giving right now. About the gift that was offered freely. About the sacrifice that was made. About the grace that's available even for the worst of us. That wasn't just pretty words, Marcus. It was the truth. The only truth that matters in a place like this." I wanted to argue, to defend my choices, to explain that I'd seen through the lies of organized religion, that I'd chosen the path of authentic power, but I couldn't. Not here, not surrounded by the evidence of where that path had led. The church scene faded, and I found myself back in the void, but something was different now. There was a light in the distance, not like the sickly luminescence that permeated this place, but something clean, pure, almost painful to look at. Every entity I'd ever worked with began screaming, not in anger, but in what sounded like genuine fear and pain. They scattered, retreating to the darker corners of this realm, and I understood why. That light wasn't just light. It was righteousness, holiness, the absolute antithesis of everything this place represented, and it was getting closer. "No!" Ronov's voice shrieked from somewhere in the darkness. "He's ours! He signed the contract! He belongs here!" But the light kept coming, and as it approached, I felt something break inside me. Not my will or my spirit, but the hardness I'd built around my heart. The pride, the certainty, the arrogance that had sustained me for 15 years of serving darkness. It all cracked and crumbled like old plaster. I fell to my knees, or what passed for knees in this place, and for the first time since I was 14 years old, I prayed, not to demons or entities or dark powers, but to the one I'd spent half my life rejecting. "God," I whispered, and the word felt foreign on my tongue, rusty and unpracticed. "God, I was wrong. I was so wrong. I don't deserve mercy. I don't deserve grace. I've done terrible things. I've led people astray. I've served your enemies and called it enlightenment. But if there's any chance, any possibility of redemption, even for someone like me, I'm begging you, save me. Save the people I've hurt. Don't let them end up here because of my lies." The light was all around me now, and I couldn't look at it directly. It was too pure, too clean, too absolutely holy. I felt it searching me, examining every corner of my soul, every secret sin, every dark deed, every moment of pride and rebellion and willful evil. I expected judgment. I expected condemnation. I had condemned myself after all. What else could I expect from a righteous God looking at the wreckage of my choices? Instead, I felt love. Not the hollow, self-serving version of love I'd practiced in my rituals. Not the transactional affection of the entities I'd served. But pure, unconditional, completely undeserved love. It burned away the darkness in my soul like morning sun burning away fog. It hurt. God, how it hurt. But it was a healing pain, like setting a broken bone or cleaning out an infected wound. A voice spoke, and it was nothing like the cacophony of the entities. It was gentle but firm, quiet but impossible to ignore, loving but absolutely truthful. You're not staying here, Marcus. Not today. Not yet. You have work to do, people to warn, lies to expose. You've seen the truth now. You know where the path of darkness really leads, and I'm sending you back to tell them, to warn them, to fight for the souls you helped ensnare. But I don't deserve, I started. No one deserves it. That's the point. Deserving has nothing to do with grace. You're going back because I'm choosing to send you back, because every soul matters, even yours, especially yours. Now wake up. The light exploded outward, and I felt myself being pulled away from that place. The void and its horrors fell away, growing distant like a nightmare at dawn. I heard Ronov screaming in rage and frustration, heard the other entities wailing their protest, but their voices grew fainter and fainter until they were just whispers on a cosmic wind. And then I was gasping, choking, coughing up blood and fluid as Sarah Rodriguez and her partner worked frantically to stabilize me in the back of an ambulance speeding down I-26 toward Mission Hospital. "Welcome back," Sarah said, tears streaming down her face. "You've been gone for 7 minutes. We thought we'd lost you, but I hadn't been lost. I'd been found. The recovery was long and painful. 3 broken ribs, a punctured lung, internal bleeding, a fractured skull. The doctors at Mission Hospital called it a miracle that I'd survived it all, let alone with no permanent brain damage after being clinically dead for so long. They didn't know the half of it. I spent 3 weeks in the ICU, drifting in and out of consciousness. Every time I closed my eyes, I saw flashes of that place, the void, the suffering souls, the entities I'd once called allies and friends. And every time I thanked God I wasn't there permanently. Not yet. Maybe not ever, if I did what he'd sent me back to do. The first person I called when I could finally hold a phone was my mother in Hendersonville. She hadn't spoken to me in 6 years, not since I'd shown up at a family Thanksgiving dinner and announced I was a practicing Satanist and proud of it. I'd said such cruel things to her that day, mocking her faith, calling her weak and deluded. "Mom," I said when she answered, my voice still rough from the breathing tube they'd removed 2 days earlier. "Mom, it's Marcus." The silence on the other end stretched for what felt like an eternity. Then, "Marcus, is that really you? I heard about the accident. I've been praying." "I know," I interrupted. "I know you have been. And Mom, your prayers worked. They worked better than you could possibly know. I need to tell you something. I need to tell you that you were right. About everything. God is real. Heaven is real. Hell is real. And I've been serving the wrong side. I've been so lost. And I'm so sorry." She wept. We both did. And for the first time in 15 years, I felt like I might actually have a mother again. But that was just the beginning. The hard part was reaching out to the people I'd recruited, the followers I'd led astray, the seekers I'd pointed toward darkness and called it light. Jennifer in Houston answered my call with suspicion. "Marcus, what the hell do you want? I heard you had some kind of near-death experience and found Jesus or something equally pathetic." "Jennifer, please listen. I know how this sounds. I know you think I've gone soft or been brainwashed or traumatized into believing lies. But I need you to hear me. Everything we believed, everything we practiced, it's a trap, a lie designed to ensnare souls. I've seen where it leads. I've been there, and I'm begging you, as someone who once stood where you're standing, as someone who once believed what you believe, get out. Get out now before it's too late." She hung up on me. So did David in Orange County. So did most of the others I called during those first few months of recovery. But some listened. Melissa in Maricopa County, the young woman I'd recruited when she was 19 and angry at the world, called me back 3 days after our first conversation. "Tell me more," she said quietly. "Tell me what you saw." I did. I told her everything. And slowly, carefully, with tears and prayers and the kind of grace I didn't deserve but had been given anyway, she began to turn away from the path I'd set her on. She was the first, but she wasn't the last. It's been 5 years now since that October night in the Blue Ridge Mountains of North Carolina. 5 years since I died and came back. 5 years of deprogramming myself and helping others do the same. 5 years of studying the Bible with the same intensity I once studied grimoires and occult texts. 5 years of learning what real power looks like. The kind that heals instead of destroys, that builds instead of corrupts, that loves instead of consumes. I still live in Asheville, in a small apartment near Grace Community Church, where Reverend Caldwell used to preach. He's gone now, passed away peacefully in his sleep 3 years ago, but the church still stands. And every Sunday I sit in a pew near the back, the same pew where 14-year-old me once sat, angry and rebellious and choosing the path that would lead to so much darkness. I speak at churches now, sharing my testimony. I've traveled to Harris County in Texas, to Cook County in Illinois, to Orange County in California, all the places where I once planted seeds of darkness, trying to uproot them with truth. Some people listen, many don't. Some call me a liar, a fraud, a traitor to the cause of enlightenment and self-determination. I understand their resistance. I was them once, but I keep talking, keep sharing, keep warning anyone who will listen that the path of darkness, no matter how enticing it seems, no matter how much power it promises, no matter how much freedom it appears to offer, leads to only one place. And I've been there. I've seen it. I've felt it. And by the grace of God, I got out. Not everyone will listen. Not everyone can be saved. I understand that now. Free will is real, which means people can choose darkness even when they know the truth. But I have to try. I owe it to the souls I helped ensnare. I owe it to the God who pulled me out of the pit when I deserved nothing but judgment. I owe it to the version of myself who sat in that church pew at 14, angry and lost, and about to make the worst choice of his life. If I can reach even one person, if I can save even one soul from the fate I narrowly escaped, then every moment of ridicule, every accusation of betrayal, every difficult conversation with former followers is worth it, because I know what's waiting at the end of that dark path. I've been there. I've seen the faces of those who chose darkness and thought they were choosing freedom. I've heard their screams and felt their suffering. And I know, with a certainty that goes beyond belief into absolute knowledge, that hell is real. But I also know something else, something even more important. Grace is real too. Redemption is possible, even for a former Satanist who spent 15 years serving entities of darkness and leading others astray. Even for someone who deserved nothing but judgment, even for me. And if grace can reach me in the deepest pit of my own making, it can reach anyone. That's my message now. That's what I spend my days sharing. Not fire and brimstone. I've seen enough of that to last an eternity. But hope, grace, the possibility of redemption even for the most lost among us. Because 7 minutes in eternity taught me something that 15 years of occult practice never could. Darkness is real, but light is stronger. Evil exists, but love conquers it. Hell is a genuine destination, but heaven's grace can intervene even at the last moment for those who finally, desperately, humbly ask for it. My name is Marcus Blackwood. I was a Satanist for 15 years. I died for 7 minutes on a mountain road in North Carolina and saw the other side. And I came back to tell you, choose wisely, choose carefully. And if you've already chosen wrong, it's not too late. Not yet. Not while you're still breathing. The same grace that reached down into the pit and pulled me out is available to you too. All you have to do is ask.